What is up, guys? It is the Sports Sir Brad Walker, and welcome to the Sunshine State Sports Jabber, part of NGSC Sports. Guys, please remember the website is ngscsports.com for all your current sports content. Hopefully, everyone out there is having a lovely start to their week and a lovely Monday night. Let me go ahead, guys. The Sunshine State Sports Jabber is sponsored by Arena Eats. Log on to the website arenaeats.app for the ultimate fan experience at your favorite sporting venue. Arena Eats mobile app. Express pickup, pre-order, and in-seat delivery. How do you place your order? Guys, welcome to the Sunshine State Sports Jabber, and it is my great honor to welcome one of the greatest USF basketball players, Mr. Tony Grier. I got an opportunity to interview him on Bullseye. He has reached out to me to join me tonight on the Sunshine State Sports Jabber. So please welcome everyone, Mr. Tony Grier, to the show. Tony, how are you?
I'm fine. How you doing, Brad?
I'm doing good. Thank you. I got some questions that I wanted to. And by the way, guys, in case you're wondering, this great man wrote this book right here. I'm trying to get this in the camera. There we go. And let me go ahead and do this because I did have a background set up for this. So let me switch to this background. There we go. But that is the book, guys, and I'll let Tony talk about that later on before he gets out of here about his book. Tony, I wanted to ask, what was the culture like at USF when you attended USF?
Well, there's two sides of USF, particularly basketball, of course, pre-Sundome and post-Sundome. When I arrived, there wasn't a Sundome. And, USF never really had a home court, if you will. We played home games at 4 or 5 different venues, Curtis Hickson in downtown Tampa, the Bayfront Center in St. Pete. We also played games in Lakeland. Imagine that, a home game in the Lakeland Civic Center. So we had situations where fans had to get in cars and find ways to come support us. But that's how USF basketball was in those early days before the Sundome.
Okay. And then I don't think I asked you this on Larry's show. What inspired you to write the book, The Raging Bull?
Well, I was working down in Miami for the Miami Heat, and I remember I was on a golf course and I was talking to Pat Riley, and we were just talking in general about the Heat and some other things. And I mentioned USF, my alma mater, and we had a brief discussion about that, the Sundome and all. And he had said something to me that made sense, and that is sometimes the legacies that we sometimes have to kind of elevate those legacies and do some things that are necessary in order to tell the right story so that the history is actually documented. And so nothing had been done at that point. So I reached out to USF. I explained to them what I felt needed to happen. And Mike Lewis at the time was my liaison. And as you can imagine, when you're a former player and you're coming up with a suggestion to write a book, there may be some naysayers that may think that this may be an expose, because I do know where all the bodies are buried and all those things. But the truth is I felt like it needed to be done. And one thing led to another, and I just decided to jump in and really just kind of be the strategist behind it. And the short version of it is I became an author in the process, and I'm writing the book and completing it and doing it.
Okay. Can you give me the best moment while playing basketball at USF? What was the best moment for you as either a player or for a team? What was the best moment?
Well, there's a lot of things that happened in the early days in the first couple of years of the Sundome. I always say beating Florida for the first time. I mean, that was quite an achievement back then, and not necessarily for, bragging rights or anything like that. But politically, when you build an arena as they were doing and did at the same year and opened in 1980, the O'Connell Center, we felt that it was important in 10 years of USF basketball, because the first year was 1970, to actually claim the state, if you will, and beat Florida State, beat Florida, those were achievements early on. And of course, later on, we had attendance records and we beat some teams, a couple of ranked teams in the Sun Dome. And, for a program just 10 years old, that was quite an achievement.
Okay. What will you remember the most about attending the University of South Florida?
Well, I tell you, it was a university that you could see had potential. When I came there on a recruiting trip, I stayed in Fontana Hall, one of very few co-ed dorms in the country. A young fella coming and playing sports, you saw all the benefits. And that Sun Dome, when you drove by it, it was under construction, so you could see that it was definitely going to happen. And I mean, it was a big building. I mean, back then, 10,000 seats was quite an arena. So it was really just knowing that the program was still young, and USF made an aggressive move to actually bring in coaches. And of course, Lee Rose was the first big name coach they brought in the Sun Dome era. And they loaded up with a bunch of JUCO players, junior college players, and I was one of them. I played just 1 year of JUCO before coming to South Florida, and but it was they loaded up real quick because we knew we had to win games.
And Tony, what was was there a big reason why you chose USF over any other university that may have offered you a scholarship?
Well, because of the young atmosphere, and it was a chance for me. Quite honestly, I in going to junior college, I played my first year at Polk in Winter Haven, and I was fortunate to have a good year, and I was one of the top scorers in the country, and led the state of Florida in junior college scoring, leading scorer in the state. But USF came out and got me. I had gotten letters from a lot of different schools, but everybody thinks that you're going to stay for 2 years, which is pretty much the norm. But I just knew that I could play Division I basketball, and I knew that there may be a place for me at South Florida, and immediately to go in and play and be a starter and play 3 years. So that's why I left, because all the other schools were just assuming I'd come in as a junior, and I wanted out right after my freshman year. I wanted to go right in as a sophomore.
Tony, can you compare your era of college basketball to the era that we have today? Do you have negatives and positives about when your era of basketball compared to today's era of basketball?
Well, if you look at on the court and off the court, there are two. We can talk about both. On the court, hey man, I didn't have the 3-point shot. That would have been nice. One of the nice things was the Sun Belt Conference that we played in. They actually used the shot clock first, and so. A lot of the NBA scouts that were scouting players were always looking at Sunbelt games because of the shot clock. And so a lot of the talent that they saw was used to playing on a shot clock, which, speeds up the game, allows you to see the game go up and down a little bit more. And so I was happy about that. But I think for me, yes, the 3-point shot we didn't have. The game has changed. I mean, the recruiting and the style and how people recruit and the whole process involved with technology is so much different. I mean, back in the day, we didn't have, cell phones, or there wasn't, computers. You can just log in and see a player, some highlights and stuff. So you had to have tape and send tape out and all that. And recruiting was really pretty much done in person. We went out and we recruited Charlie Bradley at Robinson High School. The whole team went to a game and sat there, and we started recruiting him.
Okay. And just real quick, what are your thoughts on the men's and women's teams right now for USF?
I always pay attention. This year has been a tough year. The last 2 years, last year, kind of the tail end of it because of COVID, but Jose's doing a fine job with the Lady Bulls, and I think Coach Gregory's, it's just tough to really follow the team like we're used to doing. Games are canceled, and players are in quarantine, and there's all kinds of distractions. But what are you going to do? I think everybody's in the same boat. But there's some good talent, and we follow them, and we just hope that we can get past where we are so that things can get back to normal again and we could actually go and watch them play and consistently see them on television as we're used to.
Yeah, like I mentioned to you on Bullseye when Larry had you on, I went to the Yingling Center for the first time, I think a couple of years ago, and I went for a men's basketball game. They were playing Memphis, and I got to see Penny Hardaway, who's the head coach of Memphis, and I got to see him. I'm like, that's interesting, not to see him in an NBA uniform and on the sidelines wearing tennis shoes and wearing a full tux or suit, walking up and down the sidelines. But I'll be honest with you, Tony, going in that arena, it's exciting as a fan. I mean, if they can get that loaded back up with both for the men and the ladies as well. I know Coach Rennes is up for Coach of the Year. I think I saw that on social media the other day. He's up for Coach of the Year for the women's team, and they've only lost one game this year, so that's great. They've only lost one game, and they've been dominating teams as of late. So you flip it over. Coach Gregory, he's again with, like you said, you mentioned with the COVID thing, it's hard you can practice, but when you're not playing games and you're not in game shape, as they call it, it's really hard to stay consistent as a player when you're only playing one game and then you have a week off in between, or you have, 3 or 4 days off, and you're a former player, so you would know better than I would, but it would be hard to keep your, consistency, anything like that. It would be almost difficult. And from my point of view as a fan, it would be very difficult as a player to have to go through that. I mean, that's just how I feel.
Well, it's in part mental too. The physical part we know, as you say, but the mental part, because it's so important to be sharp and to maintain the edge. And a lot of times, distractions now become more obvious on a day-to-day basis, and so you got to deal with that. I think assistant coaches have to really, really have a greater role in making sure that the guys maintain a routine and are doing the right thing, while they're not playing. But once the games start and the guys are on the floor, I think, though, there's some relief to be playing again. So there's some incentive there in terms of the effort and the fact that guys will go out and give it their all. But I really feel for some of the players, and this is across the country, that have the potential to play professionally at the next level, whether it be in the NBA or in Europe. Everything's been changed because now you can't see guys as much. You can't scout them, and guys don't have the opportunity to get the exposure. And if this is their last year, then they're done. And so everything changes. So I just hope that we can get back to normal so guys will have the opportunity to allow basketball to work for them after their college careers end. And you have to have a full season, and really show and prove yourself. And the numbers have to show for it. And you can do that in the full season.
Yeah, you're right. You're definitely right, Tony, because it does kind of hurt the player that's a senior that's trying to either go to Europe or go to the NBA or the next level or whatever they're going to do once their college career is over. That is hurting them. You're right, because you're not being able to, I guess, in a way, too, like you said, when you guys used to recruit, it used to be, in person. That makes it hard, too, when you're talking just like we are right now on video. It's hard to recruit a kid when you're not physically sitting, next to them or however they will recruit. Because I actually heard Joey Knight on 620 here locally say the other day that he's covering USF football and the Buccaneers, and he told me that he's one of those guys that wants to get back to the old press conferences where you go and sit with all the media and the coach or players are up on a podium. He goes, I have a funny feeling the Zoom thing is going to be what's going to replace that. He goes, I hope it doesn't end up that way because I'm one of those guys who still wants to go go to a press conference like we have now where, I can say this because I've covered USF football for the last 3 years. I've got a chance to go to press conferences with Coach Charlie Strong. Now, unfortunately, Coach Scott, I couldn't do that because this year they had cut that out. So the media couldn't go. We didn't have access to him or the players as much as we did in the previous couple of years. And, in a way, to me, I think it did suck that we couldn't really talk to a player or a coach in person because, yeah, you can do it on Zoom and you have to wait in line until someone, and then you're like, okay, well, my turn now. And so if someone already asked the question, now you're really, in trouble. You're really in a bind because, like, oh, okay, that was already asked. Okay, now what am I supposed to do? I don't have a backup question. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So I'm hoping too, Tony, that we do get back. And I'm really excited because I'm a USF fan and a Florida Gator fan, and the Gators are here September 11th of this year. So I'm hoping that that still happens and they come here to play USF at Raymond James Stadium. If I don't have access to Coach Scott before and after the game, that's fine. But that's going to be a tough day for me. That's going to be a tough day for me. My late uncle was a huge Gator fan and pumped that into me. But now, over the last few years, I have some green and gold mixed in with the blue and orange because covering USF sports and, having get a chance interviewing you guys with Larry on Bullseye, it's kind of cool to see, USF because, again, just like what he was mentioning and what Larry was mentioning, that we need to get the Tampa Bay area, to be USF fans and not to be the Gators, the Knowles, the Canes, or whoever else they cheer for, maybe out of state. But we need to get Tampa Bay people to be USF fans. And, we got a chance to interview Sam Barrington, who's the play-by-play guy for USF football. And I told him, I said, Sam, I said, you guys rule. If I can't watch it on TV, I'm listening to you guys on the radio because, you and Jim Lauk do a hell of a job on the radio. I said, and I love listening to you guys. I said, so, I got you, and then maybe later on in the day, I get to listen to Mick Hubert in Gainesville. So I said, I get the best of both worlds if that happens that way. So I'm hoping, Tony, we do get back to the normalcy of what we had before COVID hit, and the kids get a chance and an opportunity then to move on to the next level or the future Bulls because, just like I'm assuming that Coach Fernandez and Coach Gregory and Coach Scott are all going to high schools or going out to try to get the kids the next era of USF athletics, in here at USF. So can't wait to see what those three guys have, and all the other coaches at USF as well.
Well, that is correct, and it never ends. Even in a COVID year, you've got to actually tone it up a notch.
Yeah.
We talk about things have slowed down and changed, but the recruiting cycle, you have to actually now become more aggressive. You have to find other ways to reach out and to show that you're in touch. And the rules change, of course, so you have to kind of follow those rules. But yeah, it's more intense now, and everybody wants the meat on that bone, and of course, the players are sitting back, and they obviously have the same. There's a lot of scouting services and recruiting businesses that have been around for years, but now they're becoming a little bit more aggressive and becoming a little bit more friendly to families now because they realize they need the extra edge or nudge to get looked at or be seen.
Right. And real quick, Tony, what are your thoughts on the NCAA possibly playing players for their name and stuff like that? I'm assuming that it's in basketball as well as it's in football. I know that's going to start, I think, this year coming up. They're going to start paying players for their popularity and all that stuff. Can I get your take on that?
Well, I mean, that's a battle that's been fought for years. Going back 40 years ago, I can remember there had been discussion about it. Obviously, when players are marquee names and they brand themselves, especially now in the one and done era, you've got to understand that your brand doesn't begin post college career. It begins actually post high school career. So that in itself should allow a player to be able to capitalize on their name, their images, because it's being used anyway. So there has to be a way to compensate. Now, there's always been argument about what's fair. Certain players may then have more advantages but then certain players may have more needs. It just depends on how you balance it out. But in terms of college players being compensated, that's happening or will happen, and it's been approved. And how it rolls out, I mean, I know it's ongoing, but I'm happy for that. But as far as the images and things, I mean, we had T-shirts and stuff done back on us back in the day in the bookstore. People were buying T-shirts with our images. But back then we didn't really we didn't know that there would even be a market to make money on stuff like that. But things have changed, and that's just where we are now.
Okay, Tony. I mean, is there anything else you'd like to add before I let you go?
Well, I tell you, you mentioned USF and the support, and that people in Tampa should support USF sports. Well, I think the argument's always been that there's a lot of transplants. People come here that are new, and they bring with them their history and their traditions. And I think USF over the years has tried to create their own tradition and history. And we've had some successes. I mean, I don't think there's a school in the country that's had the rapid rise in football. We've always been competitive in baseball. And then with the Sun Dome and then USF doing what they've done over the years, there's been some good stuff that's happened. And of course, a lot of the other sports have done very well on a national level. So I guess it's just a matter of keep plugging and just keep doing the right thing, bringing in the right student athletes and making sure that things progress. And I just wanted to say, Brad, I like what you're doing, your show, and I really appreciate joining you. And you and I have something in common. We lost our moms recently, so all my condolences to you. And I lost mine back in October of last year. And yeah. But best of luck for everything you do. And we're here. The Charlie Bradleys and Chucky Atkinses and Bill Lears of the world. We support USF basketball. We'll continue to do so as best we can from this side.
Well, absolutely. Again, like I said, Tony, I had the opportunity to interview you, with Larry on Bullseye, and I think we've talked a little bit off the air since that time. And again, I appreciate the condolences about my mom. It was one of those, unexpected things, and it's hard. There are hard days. I know I have harder days ahead of me, especially Mother's Day. That's going to be the toughest day coming up. That's going to be tough. But I have a strong support system. I have good friends, good family. I have you guys. I have Larry and everyone in the podcasting and on Facebook. I couldn't believe that I had almost 180 people respond to the post that when my mom passed away, and all the messages I got were awesome, and people calling me. And as I said, you don't realize how great of a person you are until a tragedy hits you like that, and then all of a sudden you go, wow, I didn't know that I had touched that many people. And it kind of makes you feel good in a weird way to say that, but it kind of makes you feel good. You're like, oh, okay, well then I guess I am important to more than the people that I think I'm important to. So yeah, it was tough. It's tough, but I appreciate the condolences, and like I said to you as well, back in October, to you as well. So got tough days ahead of me to get through this, but I'm strong, and I'll continue to do what I'm doing, because that's what she would have wanted me to do. She wanted me to do this and keep writing, and like I said, I'm looking forward to watching the rest of the basketball season, and when August rolls around. Or I hope we go to the spring game this year. Hopefully they have spring football this year. Maybe I'll get to see Jeff Scott closer up. And then, the season starts in September, so I can't wait to get back to Raymond James Stadium and see the boys in the green and gold coming out of the tunnel at Raymond James Stadium. So, yeah.
Well, we appreciate what you do, Brad. And, if we can help you in any way, and if there's anything that we can do, and if there's anything you need in terms of reaching out to former players, I'm in contact with quite a few of them. So, and I know you know how to reach people, and you and Larry have done well with that. So, but best of luck with everything, and thanks for having me on. Appreciate any time.
Thanks, Tony, for coming on again. Maybe we'll do this again as we get maybe close to the end of the basketball season, or at the end of the season we can talk again about how to go over the season reviews of both men's and women's basketball.
Absolutely. Anytime.
Right. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Have a good night.
Take care.
All right, guys, that was the great Tony Grier of USF. Um, let's see. Let's see here. Let me go ahead, guys, and I will go ahead on. Thank you for him coming on, guys. Like I said, go out and read his book, guys. It's called A Raging Bull Chasing the Big Time. It's all about USF. While he was at USF for basketball and stuff like that. Thank you again, Tony, for coming on and joining me. Since we are now in the off season of the National Football League, usually I would do the NFL and college back to back. But because the NFL now is in the off season, I'm going to probably starting my hope, maybe kind of change up the show a little bit where it's not always the same thing every week. So this time I'm going to start with the National Football League. And if you can see the logo behind me, that is the logo of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, the Jaguars have the #1 overall pick in this year's NFL draft, which we are just a couple months away in April. Probably I'd say about 2 months away, probably before the NFL draft begins its thing, begins the process. And I probably, guys, if it falls on a Thursday, which I think it did last year, I'm probably going to have Lewis and my co-host Adam and Lewis join me. I think we're just going to do a live stream. I think I might just do a live stream and just reaction, using StreamYard and stuff where we can just watch the draft in hopes that, nothing, will come up. But we can watch the first round of the draft and go over all the picks and stuff like that and our reactions and stuff like that coming forward. Now, free agency, guys, begins at 4 p.m. on March 17th. That's St. Patrick's Day. Jacksonville will be coming off of a 1-15 season this past year. Of course, they won their first game of the season over the Indianapolis Colts, and they went on a 15-game losing streak. Now, as you guys know, the Jaguars did clean house in both coaching and general manager, hiring former collegiate Ohio State and Florida and a bunch of other universities that he coached for, Urban Meyer, and the general manager, Trent Baalke, now have significant, now they are ingrained with Shaq Khan as their owner in Jacksonville. Here are a couple of deals that predictions on 5 bold predictions for the Jaguars during free agency. So this is before that. The Jaguars signed Hunter Henry to a 4-year, $48 million deal. He is a premier tenant at Ohio State. So that will, and again, fitting in now with Urban Meyer, who used to be the coach at Ohio State. But that is definitely something that he could do something like that. Obviously, they're going to pick Trevor Lawrence at #1 out of Clemson. I think we all pretty much know that. The Jaguars re-signed DeJuan Smoot and also add Dalvin Tomlinson. So, again, these are just all predictions and stuff that the Jaguars could do to make their team a little bit better next year to get over that. Tomlinson had 8 sacks and 21 tackles for loss and 20 quarterback hits in 4 seasons with the Giants. So that would be something that they could have as well. Keenan Cole signs with the Vikings. Now, that would be a loss, but then that again would open up a chance for maybe them to draft a wide receiver in the draft. Malik Hooker reunites with Urban Meyer and signs with the Jaguars. Malik Hooker, tenure with the Colts, got derailed by injuries. So he has a Hooker tore his ACL and MCL in Week 7 as a rookie ending his season. In 2020, Hooker suffered a torn Achilles in Week 2. Through 4 seasons, he only played just 36 games. So that would be interesting. They have to kind of make sure to keep him healthy. The Jaguars trade for Baltimore's offensive tackle Orlando Brown Jr. Again, they both have the cap room to do that. Again, you want to get a good offensive line. If you got a rookie quarterback coming in, you want to make sure that you have a good offensive line, because look at what happened to Joe Burrow in Cincinnati. He ran for his life. He tore his ACL and MCL, and may probably will be out for the start. And Brown will be protecting Trevor Lawrence's blind side. So you definitely want to do that as well. Here, guys, is a all ACC 7-round mock draft for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Again, this is not mine, guys. This is something that I picked up and read. So let's go through this. Now, obviously, pick number 1 would be Trevor Lawrence out of Clemson. Owner Chad Kahn talked about the importance of having a franchise quarterback earlier this year, and Trevor Lawrence will be the best prospect available in the 2021 draft. Although it may sound like hyperbole at first, that have a top 10 quarterback don't have to worry about this. You think of Ben Roethlisberger, Phillip Rivers, Aaron Rodgers, or Patrick Mahomes, and how frequently their respective teams use first-round picks on a signal caller. Every year, teams look for ways to trade up in order to get a top echelon prospect. Also, they would pick Jeremiah Komama, the linebacker for the Notre. Guys, I saw this kid play. They played USF. So I got to see Notre Dame play USF this year. Let me tell you about this kid. This kid will hit you hard. He is a hard-hitting linebacker, and he is an awesome player to watch. This would be an excellent pick for anybody in the first round if you need a linebacker. This guy would be awesome. Like I said, he hits hard. He's a great player. He's got great character to him. This would be an awesome pick if they went that route and took him. They have Carlos Basham Jr., the defensive end for Wake Forest. Again, you're going to need some defensive rushers. Obviously, you still got Josh Allen. Colossae Chasen is another one. They're going to need to add some bulk to the defensive line to get after the passer. That's the thing, guys. You got to get after the quarterback. You got to do that. If you don't do that and they sit back there, they can pick you apart. Michael Carter would be a running back out of North Carolina. That's something, again, like every team needs. You always need a new running back, especially somebody that's fresh. You never really know. Asante Samuel Jr. out of Florida State. He's a good cornerback, just like his father was. So then again, he would be opposite of C.J. Henderson. So that would be very, very interesting. Tutu Atwell, the wide receiver out of Louisville, would also be to help Chark and Shanat. That would be great if they could get maybe to sign an Allen Robinson or Kenny Galladay to a contract. Atwell would fit very, very well in that wide receiver corps. Patrick Jones II out of Pitt, he would be there. Again, he's another defensive end. It would help the defensive line. Trill Williams, cornerback out of Syracuse, and you can always help your secondary. That's always something that's always that way. Charles Snowden, the linebacker out of Virginia, is another one that could help the wide receiver corps. Jalen Tyman, defensive tackle out of Pitt, is another guy that they could get. Delon Hayes, defensive lineman from Notre Dame. He will, of course, play with the kid I mentioned above. So there are some guys out there that the Jacksonville Jaguars, again, that was an all ACC. That was an all ACC draft. So there was none of those players were outside of the the ACC, the Athletic Coastal Conference. There was no one outside of that. So that is something that, again, that was just all ACC. We'll see how they go, guys. But if they can get Trevor Lawrence and the linebacker out of Notre Dame, that will be a successful first round. The Jaguars had 2 first-round picks. So don't be surprised if that kid at Notre Dame is available to post up their defense, that they don't get him. It just happens that he'll have to fall to them in that case. But will be, if the Jaguars can do that, it will set them up for a lot better than a 1-15 season next year. All right, guys, let me jump now to the Miami Dolphins. Again, here was a team, guys, that was 1 win away, finished 10-6 this season, definitely improved. Probably most likely is the second best franchise in the AFC East, only behind the Buffalo Bills, who won the division this year and beat them in Week 17 to keep them out of the playoffs because the other teams that they needed to lose won, so that kept them out of the postseason. But this is a team that definitely had a turnaround. Brian Flores is an excellent head coach. he has been able to, again, he got rid of all the bad apples out of Miami and turned this team around last year, winning 10 games. They got to keep Tua. If they're not going to bring in, they're not going to bring in, any other quarterbacks or anything like that. They might keep Ryan Fitzpatrick. Deshaun Watson obviously does not want to be in Houston. Obviously, he would fit very well in this offense, and if they get him, I think Tua then would go to Houston in return. That I think would definitely be a trade in, because Houston wants 3 first-round picks. Maybe if they trade Tua and 2 picks there and get Watson in return. So we'll have to wait and see how that all goes out with that. Now, here's they were talking about possibly adding Justin Simmons to the Dolphins defensive backfield. He is a safety. He played with the Broncos in 2020. He had played all 16 games this year, 96 tackles, 5 picks, 9 passes. He had a 1.2 passer rating allowed, 77.4 Pro Football Focus grade, and his salary was $11.4 million. Market value 5 years, $77.4 million. Simmons was a 2020 Pro Bowler and a 2019 All-Pro. So he definitely would be somebody that could fit into the back end of the Dolphins secondary, which has been excellent too. Again, this team turned it around this year in a good way for Miami. Again, this was a team that a lot of people probably, had written off. I mean, I think there are a lot of fans out there outside of the AFC East that had written the Dolphins off, and the Dolphins won 10 games this past year. And again, think about this. This was one of the years that the New England Patriots were not on the, they didn't have a stranglehold in the division or anything like that. They were able to, hold it together and everything else. So that was something else that they were able to do. So we'll see how they do in free agency. Also, too, they have another, load of draft picks that they did a year ago. Excuse me, when they drafted Tua and all that. So, that definitely will help them. Let's look at their 2020 opponents and the strength of schedule. So here is, again, they will still play the Bills, Patriots, and Jets twice, as they do every year. But here who they will play in 2021 at home. They will play the Bills, Patriots, Jets, Houston Texans, Indianapolis Colts, Atlanta Falcons, Carolina Panthers, Baltimore Ravens. On the road, Bills, Patriots, Jets, Jaguars, Titans, Saints, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the Las Vegas Raiders. And again, their 17th game, because of the extension, will be against the New York Giants. So that will be something as well. But remember now, this year, actually, the funny thing is, there could be a Florida Cup in the NFL, because I don't know if the Bucs play the Jaguars this year, but the Dolphins play both the Bucs and the Jaguars. So if they win both of those games this year, they can say that they are kings of Florida with that. So that would be interesting to see. The Dolphins' 21-game schedule ranks as the 6th easiest in the National Football League. They have the 2nd easiest schedule in the AFC and the easiest schedule in the AFC East. So they are definitely there. But then again, guys, you know what? That's just someone's opinion, right? That's someone's opinion. You don't know what the future holds for Miami. I mean, yes, you could say they have the easiest schedule, and it could end up working out very, very well for them. They can also not work out well for them. So we'll have to wait and see. I'm sure that Coach Flores will have them playing, very, very well. They're not going to, it's not going to be one of those things where, he's not going to have them focused, because he definitely is one of those coaches that keeps everybody focused and all that stuff. All right, guys, so let's jump now to the defending Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers. These are, again, some articles that caught my attention, and I wanted to bring the attention to it. What happens, guys, if the Bucs would sign Richard Sherman? Yeah, this is an interesting thing. So here we go here. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like the Bucs are going to sign all these players to new contracts. They have other alternatives, another top 10 defense. One option may be Richard Sherman. It is clearly clear that he has discussed his future with the San Francisco 49ers. It's been pretty clear regarding his future, which in order to re-sign him, if it would be some miracle, would be to have to happen. The Bucs, of course, he is 33 years of age. He would definitely help. He did suffer an Achilles injury in 2017 and in 2018. Now, again, could the Bucs pay Richard Sherman? Because remember, guys, they're up against the cap. One good thing about he's already made over $82.7 million during his 10-year career. Again, maybe they're looking at maybe he'll take less money to play for a ring, even though he already has one with Seattle and stuff like that. So we'll have to wait and see how that goes. Would that be something that you guys would like to see? I'm just curious about that myself. If Sherman, again, can keep keep what he's been doing when he's dominating, he's great. He's a great player. So again, let's see if the Bucs would even interest in that. I know that was something that they've been looking at. Of course, guys, the big three free agents the Buccaneers have is defensive end Shaquille Barrett, linebacker Levante David, and wide receiver Chris Godwin. I'm going to talk mainly here about Shaquille Barrett and Chris Godwin. I think a lot of people have already, I'm not going to say assumed, but think that the Bucs are going to bring back Levante David. Levante David has been one of the longest tenured Bucs, if not the longest tenured Buc that's still on the team. Him and Mike Evans have been through a lot together through the years. And before I continue on to real quick I want to send out my condolences to the family of Vincent Jackson. We lost Vince last week. Again, they don't know what the cause of death was, but he was a Buccaneer. And I want to extend my thoughts and prayers from the Sunshine State Sports Jabber, the Sports Center, Brad Walker, and NGSC Sports to the Jackson family. Our thoughts and prayers are with you guys. Hopefully they can get some clarity. I know I heard on the radio the other day here locally that the family has donated his brain to the CTE clinic in Boston to see maybe if he had CTE. And guys, speaking of that, in the NFL, it may be time for the NFL to step up and start doing something about these CTE cases. Because if guys are dying, let me tell you something about Vincent Jackson, guys. Vincent Jackson died at 38. Guys, I'll be 38 this September. I'm just letting you know that. I'm 37 right now. I'll be 38 in September, and he died at 38. So that's a scary thought to you right there. So let me just say that right there. Guys, here are 3 rushers that could replace Shaq Barrett if the Bucs are unable to bring him back. They would have to say a sleeper would be Carl Lawson. That plays for Cincinnati. He would be a great replacement. Number 2 would be Leonard Floyd out of the Los Angeles Rams. He would play. He's done that. So he would play. He would be a replacement. And the veteran option would be Ryan Kerrigan. So again, he's he played for the Washington football team this year. So there are 3 guys that could replace Shaq Barrett. I've heard on the radio, guys, that out of those 3 free agents, that Shaq Barrett is priority number 1. So if he's priority number 1, would Levante David be priority number 2? Or would he be number 3 behind Chris Godwin? I think defense, guys, is going to play a big factor. I really honestly can say I think that's going to play a big factor in that way. So we'll have to wait and see how that goes. And then again, here's the next article is who is more important, Shaquille Barrett or Chris Godwin? And here we're going to go down the list here of these 2. Of course, Levante David, Dominic Sue, Antonio Brown, Leonard Fournette are amongst the free agents. Also, Rob Gronkowski is another one that's a free agent the Bucs are all trying to bring back. Chris Godwin's time, obviously, he was picked in the third round in the 2017 draft. He played his first 2 seasons sitting behind Mike Evans and Deshaun Jackson. He has been one of those guys. He had 93 receptions for a total of 1,367 yards and 8 touchdowns. It wasn't until his third year he really broke into the scene. Had 86 receptions for 1,333 yards, 9 touchdowns, and he was selected to the Pro Bowl. He cemented himself as Tampa Bay's number 2 wide receiver. So that's his stats. He currently signed a 4-year contract worth $3.28 million. He has turned out to be worth every penny of that so far. Now he's expected to make upwards of 15-16 at the minimum. That's the kind of money that he deserves. Now we'll flip it over, guys, to Shaquille Barrett. Barrett signed a 3-year contract and was only worth $1.54 million over those 3 years. In 2019, he signed a 1-year, $4 million contract, and in that year, he had 1 interception, 6 fumbles, 19.5 sacks, added 58 tackles, with 45 of them being solo, 19 tackles for loss, and 37 quarterback hits. He was also selected to the 2019 Pro Bowl. Now, he's coming off Von Miller. After Miller and the Broncos beat the Panthers, he got a 6-year, $114.5 million contract. That was Von Miller, by the way, and Miller is, I think, going to be a free agent this year. So the big picture is you have Shaquille Barrett, comes at a premium. Their job is to put pressure on the league's most important position, and that's the quarterback. Barrett is also a dynamic because he can also play linebacker. Again, this is no disrespect to Godwin, but the Buccaneers can put the franchise tag on Godwin, which is worth close to $19 million, and give Barrett a big contract. But Chris Godwin and Shaquille Barrett want to return, and hopefully they will be able to restructure players' contracts. I have heard Mike Evans say he'd like to take a pay cut to stay here. We'll have to wait and see, because if they can bring the whole tandem back again, can't see why this team, despite if they don't get injured, can go right back to where they were this year in a dominating fashion. You know, guys, if you think back, this team was 7-5 going into Week 13 in their bye week after their loss to the Chiefs. They won the remaining – think about this, guys. Think about this. They won the remaining 7 games after that. They won their final 4 regular season games, and they won all 3 playoff games, beating Washington, the Saints. I'm sorry. Excuse me. My bad. 8 wins. They won 4 regular season games and 4 playoff games. They beat the Washington football team, the Saints, then they beat the Packers in the NFC Championship game, and then beat the Kansas City Chiefs handily 31-9 in Super Bowl 55. So they definitely, played very, very well after that. So again, let's see, guys, if they can bring everybody back, because that's going to be the interesting thing. Can they bring everybody back? Is the question that's on their mind. And Jason Light's got his hands full in trying to bring all these guys back, all these free agents back, to make another run at possibly winning the Super Bowl back-to-back years, which has not been done in a long time. So we'll have to wait and see, guys, how they do that. Real quick, guys, I'm going to bring this logo up. I don't have any Rowdies news. I'm still waiting. I think the season is getting ready to get underway, I think, next month. So I'll have a little bit more news as we get closer to the season. If I do have any Rowdies fans out there, please, let me know. Guys, I do have a YouTube channel, the Sports Sir Bradley Walker. Head over there. All the videos, the Sunshine State Sports Jabber and the Walker Report will be there in its entirety. Go over there, guys. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button for me. I'm trying to grow my YouTube channel as well. Plus, what I do here on Facebook. But I would like to go to a Rowdies game. So if there's anyone out there on Facebook, hit me up if you guys are going to go to any Rowdies games. I'd like to go. I've never been to a game, so I'd like to go. Go for this year to experience something a little bit different than ever before. Let me head over, guys. And there was a NASCAR race over the weekend in Daytona. Back-to-back races. The Daytona 500 obviously was last week, and there was a surprise winner there. But it looks like Christopher Bell captures his first career Cup win on the Daytona Road Course. Again, this was the second consecutive week Daytona International Speedway crowned. It's a first-time NASCAR race winner. Joe Gibbs Racing driver Christopher Bell earned the honor Sunday on the track's road course. So again, this is the second week in a row that there has been a new winner for NASCAR. The first time that they've ever had, the first time this year they've had new winners in back-to-back weeks. So that's pretty awesome as well. And again, that's something that I think all of us want to see. Oh, I guess I'm still live. Okay. All right. Well, that's good. Probably just had a cutout there. I've lost all. Okay. Hang on a minute, guys. Let me get back here. All right. Let's try. Okay. Let me go ahead and continue. I'm sorry, guys. I had some internet issues there. Obviously, that'll be part of the video where it'll cut out. But the Miami Marlins, guys, we'll be talking about baseball. Spring training has started. Pitchers and catchers have both reported to get the season going. It looks like, guys, there will be 9,300 spectators, which is 25% for the Miami Marlins at their games this year. The Marlins averaged 10 fans in 2018, 2019. Obviously, they're trying to get more of that in a 37,000 seat ballpark in Miami. So again, because of COVID, they have to, of course, keep everybody separated. But having 9,300 people in there will be good if they can get 9,300 fans to go out to the games. And I don't know why this team made the playoffs last year. Can't see why they wouldn't be able to go. Again, it will have to be something that the Marlins can work on. If you can keep winning, obviously that is something that will help you. That's definitely something that can happen. But yeah, so that's definitely pretty cool on that part. Now here's how close they are to the Atlanta Braves, who was the team that won the division. It was the team that knocked them out of the playoffs this year. The Braves have owned the Marlins in recent years. The Braves wrote a 14-5 season mark against them in 2019. But then subtract COVID and other concerns. So now here's what this is what the Marlins look like. Or this is the Marlins or this is the Braves? Let's see. I think this might be, so they're comparing the two of them. The Marlins were 31-29, second place in the NL East, only behind the Braves. Moving into, so the Marlins have definitely have gotten a little bit closer to the Braves and could give them a pretty run for their money. Projections this year for DraftKings has the Marlins winning 70 games. Superbook.com has them 74. Petco, which is a fantasy league, has them at 69 wins. Fangraphs has them at 70. Now, again, it's a 162 game season this year, guys. So we'll have to wait and see. That means they predict 72 and 90 or 72-89 record on a battle to determine who finishes last in the NL East. So again, they're predicting the Marlins not to be that good. But then again, guys, just like last year, no one had them picked either. And guess what happened? They proved you guys all wrong last year. They did it all wrong last year, didn't they? They proved it. They proved all wrong a year ago. And yeah. So let's see what they do. Hopefully they can stay and do that again this year. You know, prove everybody incorrectly wrong. And so, yeah. Let's see how the Miami Marlins do this year. Again, when you don't have the big superstars, but you don't really have to have big superstars because this team right behind me now doesn't really have the big superstars either, and that's the Tampa Bay Rays. Now, here we go, guys, with the mayor, Rick Kreisman. I went on a rant just a few weeks ago, actually when my mom was still alive, about how I had some choice words right on this show about ownership in Stu Sternberg. Well, the mayor of St. Pete doesn't really help the cause either. I'm not going to go on a rant here. And guess what, guys? I can't be interrupted by my mom who interrupted me that night because if you guys do not know, if you're just tuning in, I did lose my mom. She passed away on January 30th. I will find out this week what the cause of death was. We had her cremated. We will get the death certificates back this week, so I'll find out what the cause of death was. So let's just see this. Now, this Mayor Kreisman is the mayor of St. Pete, where the Tampa Bay Rays do call home. They spent more than half their just trying to figure out where they like to play baseball long term. They worked with 3 mayors in St. Pete, 2 in Tampa, and the officials in Montreal. Yet we are no closer to answering regarding their future than we were 13 years ago. For the sake of the city, Kreisman urged a team to select a path. We love our Rays, but it's time for them to pick a partner and get married. Kreisman aimed the brush back at a reigning American League champions in the middle of an otherwise optimistic speech in which the mayor criticized St. Petersburg as resilient and thriving despite the heavy toll the global pandemic has taken on the residents and businesses. Guys, I work in downtown St. Pete, and I can tell you that's exactly right. It did take a beating in COVID. There were a lot of restaurants and companies that lost their businesses and lost a lot of employees in downtown St. Pete. So I would agree that COVID did hit them hard as it hit a lot of other cities as well throughout the world. So, you know, it is it's different here. Now, here's the thing that I don't really understand with this whole thing about what Kreisman is saying. He has gone on to say a lot of times that he himself would be willing to share with Montreal, but he would not let the Rays move out of St. Pete and play in Tampa, which means if the Rays were to move to Tampa, they had already found a spot where they wanted to put the stadium in Ybor City, and because they wanted to move and not be in St. Pete, Kreisman got a bug up his you-know-what and has decided he doesn't, if they're not going to play in St. Pete, he'd rather split it with Montreal. So I'm not sure which way he's blaming the Rays now for getting to find a partner and get married. But on the flip side of it, he's not making it any better either for the city and themselves. So that's a little bit different and how that goes along that way. So again, guys, it's a really nasty relationship between the Rays ownership and Stu Sternberg and, of course, with the mayor. So on the flip side of that, guys, we'll have to wait and see how this all plays itself out because it's look like a long way away. And I have a funny feeling that this team might be playing half the season here and half the season in Montreal in the near future. That can't happen until around the 2024-2025 baseball season. So we'll have to wait and see. Again, that's only 3 years away. So either a couple things have to happen. One, they have to kind of agree on a stadium in St. Pete or the one in Tampa. They're going to have to let them move, or the Rays are going to have to find ownership that's not Stu Sternberg that actually wants to keep the team here and not move them into two different cities, because I don't think the Major League Baseball PA will let that happen either. So again, that's the pipe dream for Mr. Sternberg and his front office. He's a businessman in the end of the day, so he's doing what's best for him and what's best for the franchise in his eyes. That's the way he looks at it. Shane McClanahan, ready for a more after his historic debut. The former hard-throwing USF Bull made history in October as the first pitcher in history to make his Major League debut in a postseason game. Now he wants to make a bigger impact, sticking around as a member of the Rays pitching staff. So again, he is one of the guys that's on the staff. He's 23 years old. He's got about his left-hander stuff. He's a lefty. You don't ever want to get rid of left-handed pitchers. You can never have enough left-handed pitchers. So again, let's see how he fits into the pitching staff here. With the Rays, that will be something different on the front about that. We'll have to see how that all plays itself out. But again, guys, that's just the way it is, man. We'll have to wait and see how the season plays out and all that stuff as well. But yeah, that would be that. Guys, again, the Sunshine State Sports Jabber is sponsored by Arena Eats. Log on to arenaeats.app for the ultimate fan experience at your favorite sporting events. Arena Eats mobile app, express order pickup, pre-order, and in-seat delivery. How do you place your order? All right, guys, so let's go ahead now, and we'll move on to the National Basketball Association. And by the way, guys, this team right here is going to be calling Tampa home for the rest of the season. They are not going back to Toronto. They are going to play out the remaining NBA season here in Tampa. They are playing, of course, in the same arena as the Tampa Bay Lightning at Amalie Arena in Channelside. So that's pretty damn cool that the Raptors are going to stick here. Is this a sign of the future, guys, that maybe basketball can work in the Tampa Bay area? I know a lot of people want it to work here. I don't know, me personally, if that's going to, that'll work. I'm not the deciding factor. I think, with the basketball team in Orlando, we could have a team in Tampa. I don't know how it would flourish. We'd have to wait and see. I'm sure there's a bunch of basketball fans in the city of Tampa and the surrounding cities that don't want to make the 2-hour drive to Orlando to see the Magic play. So we'll have to wait and see if this is something that with the Raptors playing at Amalie Arena, if that's something in the future that could be something we could see. I'm going to go, guys, from their last two games. Last Friday the 19th, they beat the Minnesota Timberwolves 86-81 in that game, guys. Here are the stats, team stats for the game. They shot 32% field goal percentage. They were 28 of 85, 12 of 40 from beyond the arc. They were 30% there. 18 of 22, 81% from the foul line. 51 rebounds, 15 on the offensive boards, 16 assists, 6 blocks, 8 steals, 15 turnovers in the game. And let's see what else they had, guys. They had 32 points in the paint and 16 personal fouls in a win. They are right now, after that game, they were 15-15. They would then go on to beat the number 1 seeded Philadelphia 76ers right here at Amalie Arena, 110-103. And they have a game, that was yesterday's game. They shot 49% field goal percentage. They were 41% from the three-point line, 88% from the foul line, 39 rebounds, 5 offense, 25 assists, 5 blocks, 5 steals, 14 turnovers, 44 points in the paint, and they had 24 personal fouls, but were able to hold off the 76ers, and they now are 16-15. They're over 500. They have a game again against Philadelphia tomorrow. as well. So that will be a rematch tomorrow between that, and let's see if the Raptors can't win tomorrow's game as well and move on to taking, kind of sweeping Philadelphia early in the season. The next team, guys, is the Miami Heat. And just like that, they had a game 2 last Thursday. Their record currently is 12-17. They beat the Kings 118-110. In that game, guys, they shot 51% from the field goal percentage, 35% from 3-point land, 80% free throws. They had 45 rebounds, 8 offensive, 36 assists, 2 blocks, 8 steals, 14 turnovers, 70 points in the paint, and 15 fouls. Now, they played the Lakers 2 days ago on Saturday and beat them 96-94. Their record is 13-17. They shot 42% from the floor, 28 from beyond the arc, 69 from the free throw line, 49 rebounds, 10 offense, 24 assists, 3 blocks, 8 steals, 14 turnovers, 52 points in the paint, and 20 points overall. Let me see, guys, real quick, because I'm having some issues with that. Let me see, guys, what the thing is now with what the score is between the Heat and the Thunder going on right now. So let's see what we got here. They are up right now 23-21 with 11:40 left in the second quarter. So they're up by 2 points right now, guys, in there as well. Now we'll go ahead, guys, and move to the last basketball team that I cover professionally on this show, and that is the boys in Orlando, the Orlando Magic. Now, they had a game last Friday, and they beat the Golden State Warriors 124-120. In that game, guys, they shot 48% field goal percentage, 41% three-point, 82 from the foul line, 51 rebounds, 8 offensive, 30 assists, 8 blocks, 7 steals, 13 turnovers, 38 points in the paint with 19 fouls. This team, guys, again, is, then they went on and yesterday beat the Detroit Pistons to move to 13-18 on the season in a 105-96 win. They shot 43% from field goal percentage, 30% from the three-point line, 89% from the foul line, 51 rebounds, 5 offense, 24 assists, 8 blocks, 7 steals, 11 turnovers, 30 points in the paint, and only 18 fouls. So they, again, were able to do that. They have a game tomorrow also against the Detroit Pistons again. So, again, that will be something that we'll have to look forward to seeing. As of right now, guys, let me check the standings. Let me see here. Let me check the standings of where these teams here. The only team, guys, that would be in the hunt right now would be okay. So here's how this is going to go. As of right now, in the Eastern Conference, the top 6 are Philadelphia, Brooklyn, Milwaukee, Indiana, Toronto, Boston. The final 4 teams from 7 to 10 would be play-in teams, and that's the Knicks, that's the Hornets, the Bulls, and the Heat. So those 2 teams would play like a play-in game. The winners then would move on to the playoffs to be the 7th and 8th seed in that. Orlando is 13-18. They are currently they sit currently just a half a game or a game and a half out of the 10th spot. So they still have a shot, outside shot of still making the playoffs. Again, this team, the Magic did make the playoffs last year when they again lost to Milwaukee in 5 games. But yes, so that is that. All right, guys. So let's head over to the National Hockey League, and we'll start with the Florida Panthers. So let me tell you something about the Florida Panthers. This team is no joke, guys. This team is no joke. Really, if you think about it, they're no joke. They just got done beating the Lightning 2 out of 3. Let me just tell you that right now. So this team is no joke. They are playing very, very well. The Lightning, I guess, guys, are up right now, I believe, 4-2 over Carolina. I'm watching. I have the game on, so if you see me turn my head, I have guys move back to where I'm turning my head. I have more room with my green screen this way than I do the other way. So I got to adjust some things. With my mom passing away, I have a buddy moving in. Maybe I'm going to rearrange my room to where I can be in front of everything and not have everything blocking me. Alexander Barkov was one of the players of the week with their 7-2 rout over the Detroit Red Wings. He collected 3 points on Friday. He scored a goal and 2 assists. He's at 6 goals and 12 assists for 18 points in 15 games. He's off to an outstanding start. And again, they had games on Friday and Saturday, a 7-2 win on Friday, a 2-1 loss on Saturday to the Red Wings. And let's see where they're at tonight, guys. Let's see where they're at tonight. Yes, the Lightning are up 4-2. Right now, let's see. Oh, they have played earlier. They won 3-1 over the Dallas Stars. So they had 52 shots on goal to Dallas's 25. They are currently number 1 in the Central Division at 12-3-2. Carolina is 12-3-1. The Blackhawks are 9-6-4. The Lightning are 10-4-1. The Lightning just won, guys. I think the game has gone final. They beat Carolina 4-2. So now they will move to 11-4-1, and the Hurricanes will be 12-4-1. So that might change a little bit. But right now, the Florida Panthers are on top of the Central Division. They are beating the Dallas Stars earlier tonight 3-1. The Lightning won 4-2 over that. So congratulations to the Panthers on their win tonight. And again, they are in first place in the Central Division. So here we go, guys. You know what? Being that I am a Lightning fan, I would love to see the Lightning play against the Panthers in the playoffs. I don't think we have a true rivalry with them until we play them in the playoffs. That's just how I look at it, guys. That's how I look at it. That's what I'm going to say, plain and simple. The Lightning, previous to the night, had lost 6-4 back on Monday of last week, and they lost 4-0 to Carolina. This ends a 2-game losing streak, winning tonight 4-2 over the Carolina Hurricanes. So the Lightning are on a 2-game losing streak. They ended that tonight with a 4-2 win. So the streak for the Lightning is over as far as losing. I think they have another game here at home against the Carolina Hurricanes coming up this week. Let me see, guys, when exactly that game is. That game will be Wednesday at 5 o'clock. So they will be they'll be here. They play there, and let's see something here. Let's see what Florida, the Panthers. Their next game is also Wednesday at home against the Dallas Stars at 5 o'clock. So they'll both be playing Wednesday games at home. Both the Lightning and the Panthers will have home games on Wednesday. So we'll have to wait and see how that plays itself out. All right, guys. So let's go ahead as I always conclude my show with college. That's the way that I've always done it. I'm not going to change it. It seems like that seems to be the easiest way to end the show. Go through all the professional sports and then end the show with the collegiate level. Now, you guys do not know the Alabama Crimson Tide will be the opening game this year for the Miami Hurricanes at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, where the Atlanta Falcons call home. If you want to know this, Alabama is undefeated, 6-0 since the 2018 season. So a lot of people are wondering, why would you pick Alabama to start the season? Well, here's what I would think in one way or another. Let's look how this is. First of all, number one, if Miami is to upset Alabama, the defending national champions, on opening night, that would be huge for the Miami Hurricanes football team. Now, even in a loss, if they lost to Alabama, it still, to me, would not hurt them in the long run, because if they put up a fight and it's not a blowout, Miami can say, you know what, we went toe-to-toe with the best team in the country. And Alabama still, guys, is the best team in the country until somebody beats them. So let me just say that right there. Let me just say that right there. You know, they have you know, no doubt that this team can win. And you know, like I said, no matter win or lose, it's going to help Manny Diaz in the long run and help the Hurricanes football team. And you know, to me, I think it'll be great for them, whether they win or lose. They don't get blown out, it's going to help them in the long run. If they do pull off an upset, it will be huge. And speaking of incredible comebacks, the number 21 Miami Hurricanes baseball team beat the number 1 Florida Gators yesterday, 10-9. So that's interesting. That was something that caught my attention. If you guys want me to, I can start covering baseball as well, baseball and softball for each of these teams. That would extend my show out a little bit while longer. But let me know, guys, you know, either on Facebook or on YouTube. Let me know if you guys want me to extend that out to football, baseball, and basketball, and softball. I'll do all 4 if that's what you want me to do, to give you guys a little bit more detail about Miami, Florida State, Florida, UCF, and USF, if that's what you want me to do. But yes, the Hurricanes did pull off a comeback, 10-9 yesterday, beating the number 1 ranked Florida Gators yesterday. Their basketball team, guys, had a game on Valentine's Day. They lost 71-61 to the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. They were 32% in that game, 22 from the three-point line, 57% from the free throw line. They had 42 total rebounds, 15 offense, 7 assists, 4 blocks, 6 steals, 5 turnovers, and 10 personal fouls. They then played Saturday the 20th, just a couple of days ago. They lost to Georgia Tech 87-60. The Hurricanes currently stand at 7-13, 39% from the field goal percentage, 29% from three-point line, 71% free throw, 26 rebounds, 7 offense, 10 assists, 2 blocks, 4 steals, 15 turnovers, and 5 personal fouls. They do have a game on Thursday, 8:30 p.m. tip-off against the Florida State Seminoles. The women's basketball team also played Georgia Tech last Tuesday the 16th and lost 67-56. They shot 37% field goal percentage, 44% from the three-point line. They shot 100% from the foul line, 29 rebounds, 9 offense, 12 assists, 1 block, 5 steals, 12 turnovers, and 14 fouls. Now, they did win on Thursday the 18th, winning 77-60 over Boston College. The team currently stands at 9-10, 48% field goal percentage, 34% from the foul line, 84% free throws, 45 rebounds, 17 offense, 15 assists, 3 blocks, 6 steals, 17 turnovers, and 11 personal fouls. They have a game against Georgia Tech. Tip-off is at 7 p.m. This Thursday. So let's talk about now the next team, the team that calls Tallahassee home, and that is the Florida State Seminoles. Now, this offseason, FSU Norvell turns focus to his high school. He had a big transfer class already. He's at Division I transfer. Kansas wide receiver Andrew Parchman, of course. They got Mackenzie Milton from UCF as another one that was a transfer. So that definitely has helped, just to name a few of his transfers. So now he's focusing on his recruits, going to these high schools to try to bring in the next big talent that FSU has. Their spring game is set, guys, for April 10th. So, again, we're not that far away from the spring game for the Florida State Seminoles. All right, so we'll be talking more about Coach Norvell and company later on. Their basketball team won 81-60 last Monday, a week ago, over Virginia, shooting 50% from the field, 54% from the three-point line, 76% foul line, 31 boards, 7 offense, 17 assists, 2 blocks, 9 steals, 5 turnovers, and 12 fouls. They would go on to win just 2 days ago against the Pitt Panthers, running their record to 13-3, 16 ranked in the country, 44% from the field goal percentage, 28% three-point line, 79% from the foul line, 43 ribs, 12 offense, 14 assists, 6 blocks, 3 steals, 11 turnovers, 17 fouls. They have a game Wednesday against the Miami Hurricanes at 8:30 p.m. The Lady Noles lost 62-48 to Georgia Tech last Thursday. They shot 32% from the field goal percentage, 26% from three-point land, 44% from the foul line, 41 ribbies, 22 offense, 7 assists, 1 block, 4 steals, 12 turnovers, 19 fouls. They would go on to beat the number 3 Louisville Cardinals just yesterday, 68-59. They shot just 31% from the field, 23% from the three-point line, 71% from the foul line. They had 45 boards, 19 offense, 9 assists, 5 blocks, 6 steals, 11 turnovers, 21 fouls in a 68-59 9-point win to give the Cardinals just their second loss of the season. Big win for the Lady Noles as they now focus their attention to the Irish. 7 p.m. tip-off on Thursday evening. All right, guys, so let me cover now the boys that call Gainesville home, and that is the Florida Gators. This is going to be an interesting season as far as football goes, with a lot of the guys leaving, big names leaving. Now the Gators much push forward, forgetting about a disappointing end of the season. Yes, they did have a disappointing end, losing to LSU the last regular season game, then losing to Alabama in the SEC championship, just barely, and then getting blown out by Oklahoma in the Cotton Bowl, which, again, there was a lot of transfers. A lot of people will tell you that the season ended at 8-4. It felt much more like a 10-2 finish than it did again. Again, there will be new faces. Obviously, you're not going to have Kyle Trask or Kyle Pitts this year. You're going to have Emory Jones at the quarterback position. So we're going to have to wait and see how, how Coach Mullins continues to get the new wave, the new guy, the new breed of Florida Gators. Guys, I know the USF Bulls, and I'll be talking about that later on, who their opponent will be. Their basketball team, guys, lost last Tuesday 75-64 to Arkansas. Excuse me, they shot 37% total, 19% from the three-point line, 100% from the foul line, 36 boards, 12 offense, 6 assists, 6 blocks, 9 steals, 16 turnovers, and 19 fouls. They would lose to Georgia. They would beat Georgia, 2 days ago, 70-63, shooting 44% from the field goal percentage, 26% from three-point land, 80% from the foul line, 40 boards, 7 offense, 9 assists, 7 blocks, 6 steals, 20 turnovers, and 16 fouls. They have a game tomorrow night against the Auburn Tigers. Tip-off is at 7 p.m. The Lady Gators lost to Alabama last Thursday, 77-70. In that game, they shot 38% from the field, 33% from the three-point line, 82% from the foul line, 46 ribbies, 19 offense, 9 assists, 4 blocks, 4 steals, 14 turnovers, and 16 fouls. They will lose to Missouri 96-80 yesterday, shooting 39% from the field, 33% from the three-point line, 88% from the free throw line, 41 rebounds, 20 offense, 12 assists, 2 blocks, 3 steals, 17 turnovers, and 21 fouls. Cost them the game. They have a game Sunday against the Bulldogs. Tip-off is at 1 p.m. All right, guys, so let's turn our attention to the boys that call Orlando, Florida home, and that would be the UCF Knights. Here's a team that now has a new head coach, a new athletic director. Gus Malzahn, the former coach of Auburn, has taken the position at UCF as their new head coach. So the Gus bus has moved from Auburn, Alabama to Orlando, Florida. He has already hired 3 new coaches. Tim Harris Jr. was named co-offensive coordinator and running backs coach. G.J. Kinn was named co-offensive coordinator and quarterback coach. And Brian Blackman was named the special teams coordinator and tight ends coach. So those are the new faces he has added to his roster, his coaching roster for UCF. I'm telling you, I don't expect to see the Knights doing what they've done with the hurry-up offense that they've run over the years. I don't see that happening now under Malzahn. He doesn't run that kind of offense. That offense now is going to be moved to Tennessee, and I wish Coach Josh Heupel the best of luck because it only worked for a couple games before the defenses in the SEC pick up on that. So we'll have to wait and see how that goes. But we're not talking about the Tennessee Volunteers. We're talking about the UCF Knights. So again, we'll have to wait and see how the new coaching staff works out for the Knights this year. Their basketball team last Wednesday beat the USF Bulls 81-65, 51% from the field goal percentage, 42 from three-point land, 69% free throw. They had 40 rebounds, 10 offense, 12 assists, 4 blocks, 5 steals, 11 turnovers, 24 fouls. They've had 2 wins in a row. Just 2 days ago, they beat Tulane 84-81. They shot 54% from the field goal percentage, 53% from three-point land. They shot 87% from the free throw line, 26 rebounds, 3 offense, 22 assists, 7 blocks, 7 steals, 16 turnovers, and 15 fouls. Their next game is against the Temple Owls on Saturday tip-off at 4 p.m. The Lady Knights beat Tulane 63-61. They shot 39% from the field goal percentage, 38% from the three-point line, 66% from the foul line. They had 33 rebounds, 9 offense, 24 on the defensive end, 13 assists, 8 steals, 3 blocks, 14 turnovers, 18 fouls. They had 2 technical fouls, and the largest lead that they had in the game was 12. They won by 2 points. They then would go on to play Tulsa, and they won that game 55-53. They are 12-2 overall and 10-1 in the conference. They shot 38% there, 30% from the three-point line, 70% from the three-point line, 36 rebounds, 15 offense, 21 defense, 15 assists, 8 steals, 2 blocks, 13 turnovers, 7 fouls, no technicals, and their largest lead in that game was 5. They have a game Saturday against the Owls at noon. So there you go with that. And now, guys, we will move on to the team that calls Tampa home. And as I was just talking earlier to my man Tony Grier, that would be the USF Bulls. And they have announced their upcoming schedule. So here we are, guys. This is how it's going to go down this year. Their first game will be on the road on Thursday, September 2nd at North Carolina State, the Wolfpack. Their home opener will be on the 20th anniversary of 9/11 against Coach Dan Mullen and the Florida Gators. They then will have a week later. They'll be playing the Florida A&M Rattlers at Raymond James Stadium. Then 6 days later on a Friday night, they head to play the BYU at BYU. Then they're Saturday, October 2nd. They're at SMU. Their bye week actually is the 9th. They'll play Tulsa on the 16th at home. On the 23rd, they play Temple at home. Either Thursday, October 20th, or Saturday, October 30th. They're at ECU. And their homecoming game has been set for the final game of this. I'm sorry, not the final game. They'll be playing Houston on November 6th. Then they play Friday the 12th against the Cincinnati Bearcats. Then they have 2 road games to end the season. That is at Tulane on November 20th. And then Friday, Black Friday, at the UCF Knights on Black Friday. So that will be interesting to say the least. So, guys, I'm looking at the schedule now. If I'm able to get credentials again this year, I will be attending the Florida A&M game, definitely both of those games. I'll miss the Tulsa game because I'm on vacation. I'll be at the Temple game. I'll be in Houston. That's the homecoming game. And then Friday, November 12th against the Bearcats. So those would be mine. I usually go, guys, to all but one home game that I can go to, and you just because I'm on vacation. So unless I'm home this year on the 16th, I will, like I said, I will be attending at least 5 out of the 6. Let's see, I'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5 out of the 6 home games. If I get credentials again this year, I will be able to attend at least 5 out of the 6 games, which, guys, the last 3 years, I have absolutely enjoyed going to the USF games and watching the games from the press box. It's been very, very cool over the year, over the last 3 years. As I was telling Tony, hopefully we get back to where we can do standard press conferences because that was pretty cool. Season tickets go on sale, guys, on March 1st. That's next week. So get your season tickets, USF Bulls fans. Get your season tickets. All right, so let's go ahead, guys, and talk about their basketball team. They played Temple recently, and they won 83-76. They lost to UCF. This is the last game that they played. They shot 40% from the field, 39% from the three-point line, 69% from the foul line, 34 rebounds, 15 offense, 19 defense, 14 assists, 7 steals, 1 block, 7 turnovers, 22 fouls. The biggest lead that they have was 12. They have a game on Wednesday against Temple at 7 p.m. And the Lady Bulls, as I mentioned earlier, have only lost 1 game. They're 9-0 in the conference. They beat Cincinnati 69-65. They only shot 34% in that game, 17% from the three-point line. They shot 69% from the foul line, 43 rebounds, 18 offense, 25 defense, 16 assists, 8 steals, 6 blocks, 10 turnovers, 14 fouls. The largest lead in the game they had was 6. And then they beat Tulane 78-69. In that game, they shot 38% from field goal range, 30% from the foul line, from the three-point line, 70% from the free throw line. They had 43 rebounds, 21 offense, 22 defense, 16 assists, 12 steals, 2 blocks, 6 turnovers, 20 fouls. The largest in that game was 11. And they play Temple at 3:30 p.m. on Wednesday as well. Well, guys, that's going to pretty much wrap up the show. And, guys, guess what? I know I've been sitting here saying I'm going to be on Bullseye. I am making my gradual return to Bullseye tomorrow night. I will be on with Larry Frank at 9 o'clock. I've had some stuff with my mom come up, and I've been unable to get on that show. But, Larry, if you're watching this or if anyone out there from Bullseye is watching this, I will be back on the show tomorrow night because I've had some issues with taking care of my cremation with my mom, and I've had family stuff that I would like to attend because of what's going on with what happened with my mom. So thank you guys on Bullseye for bearing with me with that, but I will be back. And I also will be on the Walker Report on Thursday with my co-host Adam and Lewis. And guess what, guys? I'm doing something a little bit different on Thursday. We're going to discuss all of the records in every sport. Talking about, can they be broken? Will they ever be broken? We're going to talk about that this Thursday. That's going to be topic. So if you're interested in a kind of show like that, head on over there and join us on Thursday. But again, the Sunshine State Sports Jabber is part of NGSE Sports, guys. Remember the website is ngsesports.com. And my show is sponsored by Arena Eats. Log on to the website arenaeats.app for the ultimate fan experience at your favorite sports venue. Arena Eats mobile app, pre-order, express pickup, and in-seat delivery. How do you place your order? I want to thank you guys. I want to thank Tony Grier for coming on and talking with me for 20 minutes to start my show off. I want to thank him, and I'm hoping maybe I can get some other USF basketball players on here to talk also about their experiences at USF over the years. Maybe I'll have one come on here for the next few weeks. I was supposed to have Doug Wechter come on. I haven't heard back from him to get him on. He was a former Rays player, but I will again continue to try to get some guests on this show, guys. Tony was my first interview outside of Shane Matthews, but Shane was over the phone. It was not done, through video because Shane had some issues with StreamYard, so he was unable to come on video. And I'm not dogging anybody for that either. That's not what I'm saying. So don't take that as me saying that. But guys, before I go, as I always do, want to thank the first responders, our doctors, nurses. Thank you for being the true heroes of COVID from last year all the way up till this year, until this pandemic is, down enough to where we can return to normalcy or the new normal. That will be great. To our men and women of our armed services, both active, retired, and the ones who have left us, thank you for your sacrifices. I would not be able to sit in front of this microphone 3 days a week if it was not for what you guys do. So thank you for your service and sacrifice doing what you do. And, of course, finally, to our domestic soldiers, our police officers, firefighters, and paramedics, thank you for keeping us safe here domestically. It's been great. Thank you guys for coming on here. I did miss last Monday. Again, I was attending family, doing family stuff, guys, which has been more important to me since I lost my mom. So thank you guys for bearing with me and allowing me to come on and entertain you guys for the last hour and a half plus this Monday. I will be again back here next Monday on the Sunshine State Sports Jabber. I will be joining Larry Frank for the first time in 3 weeks, I believe, on Bullseye, and it will be an honor to be back with him. And I'll be on the Walker Report, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Thursday with Adam and Lewis. We'll be talking sports records for every sport this week. But until then, guys, everyone, please stay safe out there. Hopefully everyone's staying safe with COVID. The numbers are coming down, guys, in a good way. Let's keep the numbers down. Let's not have another pop-up like we did in February, where at the beginning of this month it was really, really bad. All right, guys. Until then, everyone, stay safe. I love you. Thank you for joining me. Until then, this is the Sports Center, Brad Walker checking out. Until next Monday, peace.